Hey, how's it going, everybody? Timothy J. Ward here. And today I wanted to talk about living a simple life. I feel like this is a topic that does not get talked about as much as maybe some of its counterparts or some of its components. And what I mean by that is some topics like minimalism get a lot of shine. Everybody's talking about minimalism these days. I'd go as far as to say that I feel like on some levels, minimalism is a fad. I don't think it's a fad and like it's gonna go away, because I think a lot of people are dialed into it, myself being one of them, and I feel like we're serious about it and it's part of us now. It's a way of life. But I do believe there are a lot of people out there who realize minimalism is popular, and so they're kind of pretend a minimalist. Okay, they're just kind of riding the wave while it's super popular. Do I think it will lose popularity in the coming years? Maybe. Mainstream popularity, probably most certainly. But it gets a lot of shine. A lot of people talking about tidying up these days and decluttering, lots of books out there, all this stuff. And I feel like a lot of these are components of living a simple life. Or there are other things that get talked about a lot that you kind of have to simplify your life in order to do. We're big on living in RVs. We're big on the van life, big on living in vehicles, nomadic life, digital nomad. All that is very popular these days, and I'm glad they are. I'm glad that the conversation is out there about living a different type of lifestyle. But I feel like, you have to simplify your life in order to do any of that. But I feel like the overall topic of living a simple life just does not get talked about as much as some of these other aspects. So I was like, today I want to talk about living a simple life. And it's funny to me that one of the biggest objections when you talk about living a simple life or simplifying your life, that people always say to me, they say, Tim, but I want to enjoy my life. And it kind of always makes me pause, because I realize that for most people, they think that living a simple life would not be an enjoyable life. They have been taught their whole lives that all these excess, complicated things that we put in our lives is what makes our life enjoyable. Even though a lot of these people are not happy at the moment. Okay? Like, they have been taught and brainwashed and been programmed to believe that all this complicated mess they put in their life, or that they feel they need to try to get in their life, that they need to spend their life trying to acquire, all these possessions and these positions and all this other stuff, they feel like that's what will make them happy. Even if for the past 20 years they've been doing that or trying to do it and they haven't been happy. This is how crazy like your brainwashing can be. If all your life you've heard a certain thing, you're going to believe it, even if the data in your life is telling you something totally different. So people will be like, but I want to enjoy my life. And I'm like, so how is that working out so far? And they're just like, well, if I can just get so-and-so, or I can just get here, or I can just make this much money, or there's always if I can just. But what happens is when they get to that level, they're not happy. So they go for the next level. And that's kind of how society sucks you into playing its game. Because there's always another level. Even if you hit 9 levels and you got all the toys and the bells and the whistles and you're making good money and you're not happy, well, there's a 10th level. And no one wants to stop. Very few people want to stop and be like, what if I just go back to like level 2? And that's kind of where if we're using the levels analogy, that's kind of where the simple life is. I like to live on like a level 2 or level 1. The more simple, the better. And this is crazy because the things that bring us the most enjoyment in life are not something that you can like acquire and through like consumerism. Okay? Or they're not the bigger, better, flashier stuff. The things that bring us true enjoyment and true happiness in life, if there's a price to them, are usually pretty cheap. And for a lot of the things, there is no price to them. You just kind of have to do them. Something major, like spending time, major on the happiness scale, like spending time with people you care about, spending time with family, friends, loved ones, people you care about. people you have a connection with. That's free, right? That's free. There's no cost involved. Now, you might go out to dinner. That costs a little money. You might go to a movie. That costs a few dollars, but still pretty cheap. You can go to the Wendy's and eat with your friends and have fun. You can go to the dollar movie theater with your friends and have fun. Do they still have dollar movie theaters? I could be dating myself. Back in Atlanta in the 90s, we had dollar movie theaters. You didn't really want to go to them because all the kids went there and hung out, and they were just, they were not a place for, like, the average. if you weren't trying to, like, pick up skanks or buy drugs, don't go. But anyway, they had dollar movie theaters. So, it's a little factoid for y'all. Anyway, my point is, most of the things that bring us the most enjoyment in life aren't that expensive. Do not require years of climbing the corporate ladder. Don't require us to be making a certain dollar amount a year. And this is why, like, one of my favorite quotes of all time is attributed to Confucius. And it's the one where it says that life is really, quite simple, but we insist on making it complicated. And this is so true. Life is really simple. Like, that's what's so funny to me too. Like, our natural state as humans is to live a simple life. That's our natural state. It's just because we've been brainwashed over so many generations to believe in this whole civilization thing and society thing and being civilized and successful and all that stuff that we have these complicated life plans in front of most of us. But our natural state in the beginning, when our ancestors first got to this planet or were put on this planet or whatever you believe, when the first humans wasn't living complicated lives. Their lives were very simple. You needed food to eat. You needed shelter to get out of the elements. And, depending on where you lived, you need some clothes. Food, clothing, shelter, the basics. And you needed human interaction, which was simple. You just, whatever people you were born near, that's who you hung out with, your family. You hung out with them. You hunted some wildlife nearby to make clothes. You also, ate those animals, or you could gather berries. Eventually we started doing crops, things like that, but still pretty simple. Your shelter, you could live in a cave, or you could cut down some trees, make a house. You could use grasses and things like that. You could use some of the animal skins, all this stuff that was freely provided for you. Pretty much all we had to do was just wake up in the morning, go out and grow something, kill something, skin something, cut something down, fashion it into whatever we need, come home in the evening, hang out. Pretty easy. Not very complicated. Now, of course, there were problems, but the overall, life wasn't very complicated. Everything you needed was right there. This whole idea of possessions was kind of foreign too, because everything you needed was right there. Everyone had equal access, if you were healthy, to everything you needed. So, if I wanted, to build a shelter, I had the same access to the trees to build a shelter as the next gal. If I looked over at their shelter and was like, oh, I like the way they designed that doorway. I like that chair in there. I didn't get all jealous. I just went and cut down the same tree and made the same chair. Or asked them, hey, can you make that chair for me? In return, here's some of the game I caught today. It was very simple. Very simple. There wasn't this ideal of I keep bringing this up because I think it is one of the concepts that holds us back so much. And it's totally the opposite of the simple life and this ideal of success that we have today. So many people, if they don't say it's because they want to enjoy their lives, that they don't want to live a simple life, is because they want to look successful to other people. It's not about how they feel about their life, it's how it looks to other people. And this is mind-blowing to me. I get it because we've been programmed and brainwashed to think that way, but it's just mind-blowing to me that so few of us take the time to stop and say, what do I want out of life for me and my family? What do I really want out of life for me? Instead, we look and go, okay, that's the model. That's what success looks like. That's what I need to do. I need to have that house, that car, dress like that, make that much money. And then I guess I'll be happy because that's what everyone else says. But you can look at the people who have attained that quote unquote success. A lot of them are happy. We don't do that though. That's the thing. We do not look at the data. There are so many quotes out there from rich and famous people who are like, hey, this does not make you happy. There's so many rich and famous people who just disappeared from the limelight at like the height of their careers when, some reporter 20 years later finally catches up with them. They're like, hey, what happened? You were in your prime. They're like, it wasn't making me happy. I wanted to have kids. I wanted to hang out with my family. I wanted to do some of the things I've always wanted to do. Because all this stuff that we think is going to make us happy does not. But when you offer people an alternative, where the data is the opposite, where a large percentage of the people who've decided to simplify their lives got a lot happier and stayed a lot happier. People don't want to look at that. They don't want to look at those numbers. No. Those are those weirdos, those poor people, or whatever. Those people aren't really happy. They're just saying it. You hear that a lot too. Oh, those people aren't happy. They're just, why would we lie? You get, especially like on the internet, you get a lot of people who lie about having success in whatever they're doing because they're trying to make money. Very few people like who are making, have simple living blogs or make videos about it. Typically the money is not their main reason for doing it. Some of them do get successful and they make some good money, but a lot of times they just take that money and continue like living, they use it to live the lifestyle they want to use. You don't see people starting a simple living blog and it going, making the big times and making it to the, third page of Google and then them go out and buy a Lamborghini. No, they just keep living a simple life. That lets you know that there's something to this whole simple living thing. There's something to the whole getting rid of everything in your life that you don't want there that is complicating it. And for most people, they never take the time to stop and say, okay, let me take an inventory of everything in my life and then see, is it there because I want it there and it's necessary in my life, or it's adding something to my life, adding to my happiness, adding some value to my life, some real value to my life? Or is it there because society has told me it needs to be there? There's just so many examples of how you can simplify your life, remove something out of your life, or remove the level in which it's in your life. An example of that would be, say, an automobile. A lot of people drive the most expensive, flashy, newest vehicle that they can get financed for. That's what a lot of people do. They'll give me credit to get that Benz, I'm going to get that Benz. Because they want to look successful. Now, they could take the same money and get a car that does exactly the same things. In this day and age, probably has the same features for half the price. But you want to look successful. But you got to ask yourself, would I rather look successful or would I rather have an extra $200-$300 at the end of the month? That's a complication. Having to have the newest, latest car, complication. Life is simple. If you have to have a car, which you don't, if you have to have a car, in some places you depending where you live, you might need a car. You have kids, you might need a car. It's hard to get the kids to preschool on the bicycle. It might be illegal to be toting the kids around in the basket on your bicycle, especially once they, get past a certain age. It looks funny, so you might need a car. But when you go buy a car, are you buying the best value for your money that, does the best job of transporting you and your family where you need to go? Or are you trying to buy a car that when your friends see it, they'll be like, ooh, nice car. It's complication. You're making your life more complicated trying to impress other people. This is one example. There's so many examples of things we do that take away our money, one. Take away our time, two. And take away from our overall happiness, three. In an attempt to get happy. It's so ironic. Like you can sit and when you think about it, and if you really take the time to think about it, You're like, there are so many things I'm doing in an attempt to be happy that are actually taking away from my overall happiness. I got to go into bills right now. I have to, people. I have to talk about bills right now. Bills are one of those things that a lot of times we rack up these bills for things we really don't need because we think they're going to make us happy, and that's what's draining our happiness. And even if we don't make the conscious decision, a lot of times we don't say to ourselves, oh, this will make me happy, I'm going to do it. We're just like, ooh, look at that. We get into the mode of, ooh, look at that. Only $9.99 a month. I'll get it. Little bills like that add up. Especially now with like these subscription services and subscription boxes and all these new streaming services, which is going to get worse. The streaming wars are coming, and they're going to be dirty. Okay? The streaming wars are coming. Disney's jumping in the game. I heard, CBS merged with Viacom. They're going to jump in the game. Like, it's going to get crazy here shortly. And you might be like, oh, I'll just sign up for all of them. It's only $9. That's $40 a month. You can't watch that much television. Can't watch that much television. You don't need 4 different streaming services and cable, which I don't know why anyone has cable. But bills are like that. And those are like the little bills. But then you move it up to things like car note, mortgage, rent. When it comes to like finding a place to live, once again, people try to buy the biggest structure or rent the biggest structure they can for the money they have or the money the bank will lend them. Instead of saying, hey, what size structure do I need for me and my family for us to live comfortably? Not saying you have to squeeze your family into the smallest apartment you can find. That's not what the simple life means. It means finding an adequate structure where you and your family can live comfortably that you can afford. Anything beyond that is a complication. Anytime I see, somebody buying some new McMansion, or do they say McMansion anymore? Is that word lost like it's cool? Anyway, I see somebody buying like some huge house with all these rooms. I'm just like, why? And they're obviously doing it to impress other people because you don't need that many rooms in a house. Here at work, we like to look at my job here. We like to look at, some of these housing magazines because it's a pretty well-to-do area. So, people you like to look in the realtor brochures and just look at some of the houses and some of the ones they're building, and I used to be one of those people that would look and like dream and fantasize. Now I look because it's like going to the zoo for me. I just like to see different stuff, Ooh, look at that animal. Ooh, look at that condo. Like it's just me looking at something new. I don't want it. When I go to the zoo, I don't want a tiger. I don't want to bring a zebra home. So I don't want one of these, $500,000 condos. But I look around at like some of my coworkers and they're really like jelly over not being able to buy one of these things. They're really like, ooh, if I want to get rich, I want one of these. And I'm always like, why? Oh, it's my dream home. I'm like, why? Like, why do you need something that big? Why do you need a 4-bedroom condo, just you and your husband? And you don't want kids. You know what I mean? Like, just stuff like that. Like, people have this ideal of, once again, if I'm living in that, people will see it. They will think I'm successful. It will impress other people. We bring on more complications in our lives. And we stress ourselves out and we lose our wealth more trying to impress other people than anything else. I feel like a euphemism for living the simple life should be like living the not trying to impress nobody life. You could call it that. So much of what we do is trying to impress other people. When you start embracing simple living and you just want to live like an intentional life, a life that's filled with just the things you need to live, and then, just doing things you want to do, it's not very impressive to most people. Most people look at you, oh man, they must be hurting. They don't have as much stuff as they used to. They went and lived in a smaller home. They only have one car now, and it's a Honda. It doesn't impress people. The simple life does not impress people. But that's kind of the point, because most people waste so much of their life, their time, their energy, working for or striving after all this extra stuff that is there just to impress other people. Just so you can be like, hey, look at me. I'm somebody. Look what I've got. When at the end of the day, deep down inside, we all know that what makes us somebody is like who we are and the mark we leave, not even on the world, but on like the lives of the people we care about. That's what makes you who you are. Makes me who I am. Is what the people who know me, people who care about me, what they think about me. It is not what they think about the car I drive or what they think about the apartment I live in or the suits I wear. I don't wear suits. Last time I wore a suit was like 2 years ago. I was looking good though. Went to a wedding, went to Men's Warehouse. I was like, hook me up. And then I seen the prices. I said, well, hook me up in like renting one. I wasn't buying one. But when I even seen the prices for rentals, I was like, don't hook me up so much. But I still want to be looking good. Anyway, yeah, I was proud of myself. Every now and then you got to throw a suit on and go somewhere special. Special occasion, throw something nice on. But rent it. Hey, you can rent it. See, once again, you can rent it. Very uncomplicated. You don't have to go out and buy something nice for a special occasion. Very simple. Just go somewhere, rent it, take it back. Don't get dirty because then you're darn near buying it with all the fees, the cleaning fees. But take it back nice and clean like you got it and boom, you're done. You got to think about it no more. But my point was, it's who you are as a person, what you bring to this world. Not the possessions, not your position at work. This is another thing. Like I see people, like over the years, one of the things I've always watched is like people and have such a desire for position, like at a job. And me, I'm down in the trenches. So like, I'm not talking about people high up the corporate ladder haggling for position. It's the same game, but I'm talking about people down low haggling and fighting to become a supervisor or a manager. And I always kind of look back and I'm like, in most cases, the amount of money you get doesn't equal the responsibility they give you. So I'm always like, that's stupid. Why are you doing that? But I realize for a lot of people, it's the title. They want that title, they want that position, and they want the little bit of power you get. That's another thing I always look at. I'm like, you're getting more responsibility, a little more money, and almost no real power. But you wouldn't know that by the way some people act. When you put supervisor in front of their name. But it's just so funny to me, the things people will do to try to get this little position so they can say there's somebody important in this little bitty company. Or even if it's a big company. It's almost even worse in a big company. Because I'm like, there's 1,000 other foremen in this company. Like, I don't know. It's just the things we go after. The things we go after in life. Because we think it's something. When you actually sit back and look at it, you're like, that's nothing. Like, I just like, that's, work is what it's always been funny to me. I just look at people and I'll be so happy to get like a promotion. But I'm like, but what did you really get? That's why I'm one of those people, I hate promotions. I almost never want to, like they make me take promotions. Hey, you want to take this job? No. Well, we're going to give it to you because we ain't got nobody else to do it. Like I'm being serious. They always make me take promotions. I don't want to because the math doesn't work out. But it's another one of those things. Once again, you get more complications in your life, more stress. The money rarely equals out to it, but people go for it because they think that's important. And it just makes them miserable. So many aspects of our lives. So complicated unnecessarily. When you break it down to, did I eat today? Do I have enough money to eat for the next month? Do I have a place to lay my head at night that's not out in the wind and the snow or the heat? Do I got AC? I'm from Florida, so that's a big deal. Yeah, like if you've never been down south in that humidity, like I know a lot of y'all from places where you can like open the window, let a breeze. That don't work in Florida. You open the window, more heat comes in. Like it doesn't. Inside just becomes outside. Like you almost better off if the AC goes out, keeping the window and the doors closed. You can put all the fans. You need AC. Do I have the money for my air conditioning, my utilities? Do I have clothes when I go out in public? Do I have a job that pays my bills? Or do I have, my own job, side hustles, whatever. Do I have income coming in that allows me to get the things I need to survive and a little more? I always like to add that. Like, I'm not talking you have to live bare minimal. Now, if you want to save up some money to do some other things later in life, hey, you can go bare minimal. I don't mind going bare minimal. I'm making this recording in employee housing at a seasonal job. This room is minimal. There's a twin bed, bathroom, and a mini fridge and a microwave. And a couple dressers. Hey, the more I'm naming it, there's some stuff up in here. What am I talking about? Minimal. No, it is. There's like 2 dressers up in here. What? But seriously, and sometimes like I'll look at my life from the outside looking in and see how other people see it. And for like a split second, I'm like, ooh. But then like I look at it from my point of view and I'm like, it don't cost me that much money. I have a place to stay. It's up here in Montana, so it's got heat. There's no air conditioning because you don't need it, but it's got heat for the winter. Place for me to wash my body when it gets stank. There's actually a television. I never turn it on because I don't watch TV. But it's got everything I need. What more do I really need? And once you start simplifying your life and you realize that, because I know it's a big step sometimes. You start simplifying your life and at first it seems like crazy. But then you realize, wait a second, like I'm not, like nothing really changes. Like we think like whole life is going to be just weird. But you start simplifying your life, you start getting rid of stuff. You start, getting rid of the complications. You start unimpressing people. And you realize, like, wait a second, I'm still the same person I was. I'm still, I'm still eating, I'm still living. But look at this, I got more free time. Look at this, I got more money at the end of the month. Look at this, I got more time to hang out with my family, my friends. Like, wait, like, there's something to this. It's not a bad thing. That goes back to my initial point. Like, people really think that if they cut this excess out of their life, that they're going to be miserable, that they're going to be sitting around unhappy. Ooh, I need that $400 a month car note back. Ooh, I need those 3 extra bedrooms back that all we did was store junk in. That we had to buy extra furniture so we could fill the rooms up that we're still paying on. And then we just put junk on that furniture. Like, people think they're going to sit around and miss that stuff. You don't. Start simplifying your life. You start cutting back on stuff. Start cutting back on the unnecessary bills. Like, a lot of us have unnecessary bills. We complain about bills. I'm on about bills again. I know. We complain about bills, but then a lot of times we have unnecessary bills. Bills we ain't even got to have. Oh, these bills, they just take all of my paycheck. Why do you have all of that? What is this? What is that? Oh, well, that's because that's what Yeah, I gotta say this: storage units. Come on, America, we have got to do better. We have got to do better with the darn storage units, America. We have so much junk that we can't keep it all in our house. That we have to go 5 miles down the road and rent a storage unit to put it in, and then we forget about it. We don't forget about the $87 we have to pay every month. But like, we have so much junk, we have to put it somewhere else. And obviously we don't use it because we put it 5 miles down the road, never go down there. Every now and then we go down there to put more junk in it. Just get rid. But people will take their storage units with them to the grave, thinking that those possessions in there mean something. Just get rid of it. You won't. It doesn't matter. Well, I know. Deep inside, I know down at the storage unit I got X, Y, and Z. Who cares? That's one of those bills that it's so unnecessary. The money it causes you is unnecessary. The worry in the back of your mind, you may not think about it much, but there is a little worry in the back of your mind that something's going to happen to all that junk that you don't even know what the junk is stressful. Unnecessary. Get rid of it. But people really think that all that is necessary to live like this idyllic life they've been sold, that they go their whole life trying to get, that it really isn't what they want. I think deep down inside, my personal opinion, but I think most people want a simple life. Most people want a life that's just like doing as much or as little work as they need to, to cover their expenses, coming home to a little, comfortable abode, decent food, some stuff for funsies. Like I always say, it ain't bare minimum. Simple life is living, in my opinion, like living the life you need, living a life that has everything in it you need, and a little more. We all have our hobbies and little things we like to do that we may not have to do, but a little more. I feel like some of those extras, those little extras, are the things that make us us. So I feel like while you could do without them, you probably shouldn't. It's when people do these extravagant extras that aren't really them, when they're just doing stuff that everybody else does. Well, everybody else on the block has a boat, so you may not even like boats. I know people who don't like boats who got boats. They take the boat out like once a year, but they park it in the front yard so everybody can see it. Trust. But they don't even want a boat. But we all have little things we like that's enjoyable for us to do. And the funny thing is, when you get rid of all this other crap, you have more time, energy, and money to do the little stuff you want to do that really means something to you. But people just want the basics in life. Spend time with their family. That has almost become like a luxury these days for people to have time for like the whole family to be home at the same time, and them to have the ability to possibly want to spend time with each other. They probably won't. The kids are going to be on their devices, and the parents are going to be on their devices, and the cats and the dogs are going to be on their devices, and they're going to be yelling at Siri and Google to control all of them. But I was walking past a house the other day, and this lady was like yelling at Alexa. I thought she was yelling at her kid. She was like, Alexa. I said, what is that baby doing? She was like, turn up Christian rock. I was like, oh yeah, Alexa's the thingy. Off on a tangent again. I'm sorry. Anyway, for there to be a time when like all the family's home, and if they wanted to, they could all hang out. That's like a luxury now. People would know what to do. Dad's home, mom's home, all three kids are home. We can like sit in the living room and watch a movie if we wanted to. Wow, what went wrong? Is there a hurricane? Like what? Is there a natural disaster? What happened? It's just crazy. But that's what we want. In life, that's what we really want. Hang out with the people we love. Be fed. Have a decent bed to sleep. We have very simple wants. At our core, we have very simple wants. But we've been led to believe that we need all this complicated extra stuff in order to be successful, in order to earn our right, I guess, to be here on earth. And like I said, people will spend their whole life going after these things. Sadly, people spend their whole life going after these things, and even when people achieve them, it's not what they want. So, but they keep going forward when we really should be going backwards, looking at our ancestors. How did they live? I guarantee if there's a happiness meter, if you could set up a happiness meter from the beginning of time until now, our happiness would just rapidly be going down. Our happiness would be going down like the value in the US dollar, just going down over time. Because I think the more technologies we get, and the more we get wrapped up in them, and the more we feel like we have to use them, and the more we feel like, we have all these technologies that make life easier in some instances for us, but doesn't make life better. It doesn't make our lives happier. Just because now we can just voice command things, or we have remote access through our phone to things, does not make us happier. Like, where's the technology that's going to make us happier? But we spend all our money on these technologies and these new gadgets because we think they're going to make us happier. But at the core, a gadget can only do the job it was designed to do. And if 100 years ago they had another gadget that could do the same job, well, you're going to get the same happiness out of either one. That's what people fail to understand. There's only so many things we can do in life. We might have social media now that allows us to communicate easier with people, but it doesn't make us happier than when we wrote letters. In fact, I think we probably got a little more happy when we wrote letters because there was time involved and you knew someone really cared because they took the time to write a letter, put a stamp on it, send it to you. You had to wait for it. It was a surprise when you got it. I think there was more happiness. Now we can communicate with anybody as soon as you think of it. I don't think it means as much. You ever really want to make somebody happy? Send them a letter in jail. I ain't gonna put my friend's business out there. But I had a couple friends been in jail before. Send one of your friends a letter in jail. See how happy they get. They'll write you back 2-3 times if they have the money for paper on their books. But the happiness, little stuff. Technology does not equate happiness, but we think it does. A lot of times, the simpler methods were better. A lot of times, a simpler way of doing something was better. I think when we have to expend energy to do something, especially if it involves someone else, it means more to us and to them. That makes them happier and us happier. If you take the letter analogy, if you write me a letter and send it to me, I know you had to take an afternoon. Maybe not an afternoon, an hour. Okay, 30 minutes. Anyway, you had to take some time that you could be doing something else. Sit down, find paper, find pen, which is hard to do these days. Who has paper sitting around the house? Like loose leaf paper. Who? You had to find an envelope. Once again, hard. You had to get a stamp, which means you probably have to go to the post office, which, how is the post office still in business? They lose millions every year. Anyway, you had to do all that. And the whole time you're thinking of me. That makes me feel special when it comes in the mail. I'm not saying I don't feel special when you send me a DM on Facebook. I do. But if someone writes a letter, it's like, dang, that person really cares. A lot of times the simpler methods were easier. When you drive over to someone's house and sit down with them face to face and talk to them, that's better than Skyping with them. Man, this person took the time to come over. Or if you travel to see somebody, wow, that's a big one, but yeah, I just think sometimes the simpler methods are better. Just in general, most things I think about, simple is better. But we live in a society where we think new, more complicated is better. And the data just doesn't say that's true. It doesn't validate that. It's clearly the opposite. And so that's why I really hope that just the discussion on the simple life becomes more prevalent. People start talking about it more. Maybe it'll get more mainstream. Like I said, I think it's so cool that minimalism and all those other things are, so I think a lot of people are coming in contact with a simple life. But I just wish, the term and just, people talk about what it means for them and what it actually is. I wish it got more airtime to get more people thinking about it. Because once again, I know me. If I hadn't seen some YouTube videos about all this stuff, it would have never occurred to me. I've been so bombarded and programmed and brainwashed at that time by the other view, because it's all you ever get, that this type of lifestyle, this type of living, never crossed my mind. And I was someone who's always read a lot of books about Native Americans, things like that, in simpler ways. But it never crossed my mind that in this day and age, you could live a simpler life. I was all for bigger, better, faster. Let's go. Didn't have much of that, which is another crazy thing is and I kind of touched on it earlier, but you can live a life where that stuff just isn't working out for you and you're still going for it. It's making you miserable every single day because you're not able to attain that. But you still keep going for it. Go back the other way. Become happy with the stuff you can attain. I would be miserable over, the car I drove. But the car I was driving was a very dependable car. I've mentioned it many times. I paid $500 for it, drove it 3 years, sold it for $250. I might over that 3 years had $1,000 in repairs in it. $1,500 in this car, drove it for 3. That's $500 a year. Awesome. I should have been happy. Ecstatic over that. Because you know how much money I saved with that little beater Nissan? But me, I was like, man, I wish I could afford a BMW. I wish I could afford that Mercedes. Which wouldn't have been as dependable, probably. And would have cost me way more money. But that's the way I was looking at life. And so, I'm so blessed that I was able to come across some videos and articles where people were talking about living the simpler life and the fact that it can be done. It's cool too. and that it actually can make you happier. And blessed that, I was in the mind frame to try it and realize it worked. I'm like, once again, like we see so much stuff online and on TV that is just people lying to us to try to get our money, that even when you come across the truth, sometimes you're skeptical. We're skeptical. We have to be these days. We still fall for like the crap. We still fall for the lies a lot of times. But even when we hear truth, we're skeptical. So I was a little skeptical as always, These people really, happier. But it turns out they, they just, when I say a lot in my minimalism videos, just the feeling you get, the feeling of lightness. When it comes to living a simple life, the feeling of like no pressure, less stress. That's what I really like about it. So much of the stress I used to have in my life is gone. And it's just no pressure. Like I'm good if I wake up today and I eat and I go to work and I come home and I have a place to sleep. I'm good. I've won. I have won that day. That's what it's about. Making it day by day, month by month, year by year, surviving. Blessed to be able to, some of the stuff I like doing, some of my little hobbies I'm able to do. Blessed to be able to do some traveling now, which is something I always wanted to do. Which once again, if I had not simplified my life, I would never be able to do, because any money I had, I was trying to put it towards stuff to impress other people. I ain't trying to impress nobody now. If I'm impressing you now, it's because, I was blessed to be able to travel somewhere. And I put some of the pictures. I don't even put cool, like, travel pictures up. Like, I don't know. I'm on, like, Facebook. I don't even post a lot of, like, travel pictures just because I have this thing about, am I posting it to make you jealous, or am I posting it to inspire you? And so if it's not a shot that I think is inspiration for someone else to say, hey, I can travel too, I'm like, I don't really, even though I'll say sometimes, oh, them dudes going to be jealous when I go there. Like, really, it's like, I feel like so much in the social media world is jealousy instead of inspiration. I try to be a very motivational, inspirational person. So, like, I don't post a lot of stuff. I'm like, I'm not trying to make it seem like, ooh, look at my life. Look what I can do. If I think the way it should be is like, if you ever mention something cool about your life or show off something in your life, it should be with the added, and this is how you can do it too. I think on social media, that's the problem. Everybody wants to brag and be like, this is what I got and you don't have it. That's kind of the message you get a lot of social media. This is my life. Yours sucks in comparison. As opposed to, hey, this is my life. You can get your life here too if it's not there. I think that's where we need to be in this world. And a lot of people just aren't there. Anyway, another tangent. Going off on another tangent. I will do that, folks. I will tangent up out of here. Anyway, gonna wrap this talk up. That's just wanted to talk about simple life. And in the description box below, if you are listening to this on a platform that has a description box, if you feel so inclined, I'd like to hear your thoughts on the simple life. Like, are you living the simple life now? And if so, how has your life changed? Are you happy? And if you aren't, but you're contemplating it, thinking about it, kind of let me know what maybe is let us know. What maybe is holding you up or holding you back. What some of your concerns or maybe questions are. Because I know someone, did I say description box or comment box? In the comment box below, leave this information. Because I know someone will jump on and want to correspond. I love seeing comments and I might have done the video or done the audio, but the discussion just takes a life of its own in the comments, and I think that's super cool. Even when people like point out all the flaws in my in my video or audio. Hey, and like on YouTube, you can timestamp it, so people will be like, at 16 minutes and 13 seconds, you said. I'm like, ooh, yeah, I did say that. You right. You got me. Ha. But either way, I'd love to hear your comments on living a simple life, what it means to you, what you're hoping to get out of simplifying your life, all things along that line. Anyway, I am Timothy J. Ward. Thank you for listening to this audio recording. Let me know if you like these. Definitely plan on doing more. And if you have some topics you would like me to talk on, feel free to leave those for me here in the comment box if you can find one. Or you can hit me up on social media, and in the description box or somewhere on the screen around where you're listening to this recording, you'll find my social medias. So feel free to hit me up at any time. Let's talk. Tell me your ideas. Thank you for listening. Talk to you later.